Thank you, Monica, and thank you, Joni, for having me. It's amazing that it's been 16 years. It's quite incredible, and I do love the full circle. And just a little insider, there is a full circle situation happening with Sustainable Style Foundation, so there might be some news in the next few months about that. So we will be truly full circle. So again, it's just, as Monica said, please, I'm so used to doing this in person and interacting with faces and people's energy. So do please ask questions. I'm lucky enough to be here sheltering in place with my mom. So she's my audience today. So that I'm lucky with that. So again, it's just such an honor to be here. And this topic is I've been very passionate about it previous to what's been going on the last couple of months, but I'm even more passionate about it now. So I'm just going to get right into it and sort of talk. So wanted to kind of just give you a little bit about where I'm at today and why this is really important to me. I believe right now that more than ever, we need to consider self-care and self-love. I think you've probably been hearing that through social media and through all the media that you've been hearing. But for me, it's in order to encourage and have compassion, that ability to take care of yourself and have self-love is really the way we can do it, the way we can give ourselves energy to go forward. So how we feel emotionally, spiritually, and physically has never really actually been more important. And that's where I come in. And, you know, as Monica said, she reached out to me about 9 months ago. I've had clients now for about 20 years. I'm very lucky, where I am even more passionate about building confidence that allows people to soar to levels they never thought possible. So I have witnessed this type of encouragement. I know it works. So it sounds lofty, but after about 30 years in dressing thousands of bodies, I have witnessed transformation just by a little bit of self-care and self-love. So my hope today is to share what I know to help people get through this crisis with a brighter perspective on something that perhaps we might take for granted. And that is one of the oldest forms of expression in history, our clothing. So I will walk you through my tips to spark joy and creativity and how to create a sense of accomplishment when it comes to your wardrobe while we have this time in quarantine. Perhaps our resilience will encourage reinvention in the most surprising and simple ways. Now, this presentation today was designed for the gals, but I know for a fact there's gents on here, but this concept is for all humans. The way that I've approached this and the way I've approached my business is for everybody. There's no gender specific in what I really have to say today. So moving forward, I wanted to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, which why does this even matter? Is this frivolous to talk about clothing? And I have to say that it's a form of functional art. It's a baseline form of communication, and it is our first impression when we walk in the room. So it is really an important understanding that it is a form of communication, and that's why I feel like it's relevant. It's more than just protection from elements. It offers comfort, and the right clothes can boost your self-image and confidence. And no matter what we think, no matter what anybody says, it does matter how you feel and how you express yourself. So if you've run into people who say, I don't really care about what I wear, I actually call them out on that, because everybody does care in one shape or form. So it is a really important way of communicating, and that's why I do believe that it is a way to take care of yourself. So in history, everybody that knows me knows I love to throw in a little history. I'm a total geek when it comes to clothing and textiles. And I wanted to share that as the oldest forms of expression in history, clothing not only follows trends, but it also follows what's happening socially and politically. So if you look on your screen on the far left, this is from the French Revolution. So Marie Antoinette and all that. The reason I chose this image is that this is the image that sparked the controversy. This way of expressing, and I'm going to be doing a whole nother series in it for another group about where this type of dressing came about. But this type of dressing sparked the revolution. And then if you saw images from what the counterpart to this, you would see that that was an expression, and that was what was happening socially and politically. On the right, on the bottom, is women's response to World War II. This is the 40s. It's when women went to the work. They were in the factories. They were making things happen. And that's when pants, these amazing trousers, came to really be in full force. In fact, the way that these trousers are styled right now, it's perfectly in style for today, actually. It's circled back. And then I love the image on the top right. That's the sexual revolution. I love the flight attendant wearing hot pants. I find that really amusing. Again, this is not trends. It's just what's happening socially and politically. So now this is our current response. This is what a lot of those of us, you've been seeing this now in the last 3 or 4 weeks of sort of fashion and trends as they relate to what's happening with our current crisis. It is happening. It's going to be there. It's how we're going to be expressing ourselves. And actually, the truth is, I'm very excited about the fact that we're going to have to, the woman in the image, she's got her eyes covered, but we really are going to have to use our eyes a lot more. And that's where that joy is going to come through. So what you're wearing can spark that. So more than ever, we need to consider self-care and self-love to be encouraged and encourage each other. Now, if you take home anything, this is what I want you to understand. It doesn't really matter. The way I approach it is with how we're expressing ourselves through clothing, but self-care and self-love across the board is really important. And that's what I've been encouraging my family, encouraging my friends to really just please take care of themselves. So the number one way to further compassion and fight the contagion is to feel good spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And again, we are all hearing these messages. These are messages that aren't new. I'm not telling you anything new, but there are ways you can do that with what you're wearing, which is my form of art, and how you express yourself. So spark your joy. We've heard this from Marie Kondo. We know this term. How can we spark our joy with our clothing? So this is the fun part. And I'm going to just take a pause and say that I have an amazing community of friends and family, and everybody participated in making this presentation today. It literally took a village to kind of, as we go into this section. So I'm going to be calling some people out a little bit, and I hope you'll know that, again, I had so much, I was using this presentation as my way to sort of deal with the crisis as I brought joy and smiles to not only my face, but to my friends and family. So spark your joy is the #1 way I'm talking about in terms of how to take care of yourself and love yourself. So one of the ways to spark joy in my world is to consider color. So if you look at this, I love this chart because it really gives you a great understanding of how color can really affect your mood. It also sends a message. It's pretty powerful, and we know this. It's things we already know, but it is nice to be reminded that maybe just a little shift in your color will affect your mood. Now, one of my besties is shown right here. She's in her casual, cozy wear that she loves. She's got a wonderful, beautiful smile on her face, but she's wearing these beautiful colors. And you just can't not feel great when you have these pieces on. And I just love this image. So I'm going to also now, the next video that's coming up actually is one of my best friends that we've known each other for about 28 years, and we have been partners in crime and creativity for a long time. She's an incredible art and creative director, and she's been really using this time to do some cool creative projects, and we collaborated on the next video, and so I'm just gonna
Hi, Grapevine community.
bring it to her.
And thank you, Rebecca Luke, for allowing me to be part of this presentation. Let's get things started. So this is my first multicolored piece. It's my kimono jacket, and I paired it for a simple summer dress. Love it. Number 2, it's one of my favorite house dresses, and I got a new rose for her. I don't know how long ago, but it was quite some time ago. It's been my favorite. I love the deep pockets, and of course, I love the color. And bonus, I love doing this. So with all my menswear, I always like to add a little feminine touch. So here I've got an adorable headband made by Fly By Night. Cute, isn't it? Okay, I have one more. Get ready, here it comes. Third piece, hot pink. Who doesn't love a little pink? So here I have it paired with a multicolored bright dress. So let's say you're feeling like, I'm a little hot, I need to take this off. And there's many things that you could do with a sweatshirt. You can tie it over your shoulder. It's preppy. I'm cool. So anyway, you have fun with stuff you have. I know you have sweatshirts, and I know you have dresses, and I know buried in your closet somewhere, you got some color. Anyway, thanks again. So that was our presentation. I'd like to thank you, and again, Rebecca Luke, for allowing me to be part of the color story. Mwah.
So that's really fun. We've done things like that for the last 30 years, and it's just so incredible. You saw the power of color and just how fun it can be by just throwing a little color. And again, it was all comfort wear. So that's the next thing, is how you can find your joy in comfort. So consider not only comfort, but also how you feel in it. Okay, so if you want those days where you just want to be a schlub on the couch, great. I love those days. I love those days where I don't shower all day. They're incredible. However, at some point, you kind of need to kind of perk yourself up. And okay, we're not going anywhere, so we're going to be in comfort. So consider how you really feel in that. There are ways to wear comfort and still feel and look terrific. I've got Mara Hoffman on this slide. Mara Hoffman is a Brooklyn designer. She's incredible. She's a very sustainable designer. She's approached comfort in this really elegant way. And I'm going to be highlighting designers as we go through here, and just, again, leave your questions for the end. But Mara Hoffman is just an incredible way to up it just a little bit and feel really great in your comfort wear. So the other thing to do is there's ways that you can put your comfort wear together. So what I love to do is monochrome. So if you see the monochrome looks here, they're pretty incredible. I love monochrome. You could just be wearing black sweats, but if you monochrome it out, if you have a black t-shirt with a black legging or a black pair of sweatpants, awesome, very easy. Another great way to elevate is just add a pair of white sneakers. Laura showed that in her previous thing with colors. This is another way. If you go monochrome, add a white sneaker. It's really easy way to just kind of elevate the look and also feel great. Last thing is, and this is something that I know a lot of my gals are getting used to, is that the higher waisted. Notice every look here is tucked in. If you have a high-waisted pair of sweatpants or a high-waisted pair of jeans, tuck it in. That's another great, fantastic, easy way just to elevate your cozy wear. Now, but my favorite way is these folks. And so I did another sort of reach out to my friends, and these again are 3 wonderful people, part of my tribe, and said, hey, can you send me your cozy wear that you feel really great in? And this is what I got. And again, really easy to put smiles on my face. Hopefully it put a smile on their face to participate with me on this, but we go left to right for me. On the left, you have a designer out of Brooklyn. Her name is Laura. I think she's on here. She's the designer of Fly By Night. She's got one of her crowns in her hair. She's sewing all day. So she has to have her cozy pants on with slippers. We all are wearing slippers. It's great. You saw Barbara wearing her slippers in the previous color slide. And then Laura said that she likes to wear kind of a gauzy, sheer, linen-y shirt because it's comfortable, but also it's a little sheer, so she feels a little sexy in it. And I love that. Again, just trying to make yourself feel great, even though, you know, Laura's at the sewing machine for 10 to 12 hours a day. So trying to get herself to feel great while she's doing this. That's an amazing way to approach comfort. Lovely Clotilda in the middle. She owns a vintage store in Brooklyn. She always has fun colors on. She really enjoys color, and she's really always wearing really comfortable jeans and bottoms. So I just love how she combines her looks. And it's just a really wonderful approach, and she's got some great slides on that are very easy. On the far right is our dear friend Julia, who is really brilliant with painting, drawing, and writing, and also does a lot of things with tools in interiors and interior design. So I really love this casual look where she's got the coveralls on and a tank top, but what really sets it for me is the hair dress and the way she just tied a headscarf around her neck. Again, these are all just cozy at home looks, but just elevated just a little bit so that all three of these lovely humans feel great. So the next way to spark joy is to have compassion. And that compassion is shown by spreading goodness and joy. So right now, we're doing that through our digital our digital divide right now, which has now become a digital undivide. So work and social connections. So this slide was really boring when I had a few hours ago. And then my dear friend Lydia sent me this picture of her and I goofing off a couple weeks ago. And if you can see, I've got, you know, my Memoji on my head, and we're just playing around with all these Bitmojis and all that. And we were just, it was pouring rain in Seattle that day, and we were just having a great time, and we were just being goofballs. Everybody that knows me knows that I love to goof off. And so this was, again, this is how we're connecting. And why not just have a little fun and get your friends and loved ones to smile? This is where we're at. So I did another shout out to my friends and said, hey, can you just dress up for me and send me a selfie and just add some joy that way? This is a way that my friends did it. Again, Laura from Fly By Night on the left, doing an incredible vintage jumpsuit with this beautiful handmade bag from a small designer out of London. And then Elodie, who's my amazing personal trainer. I just did a shout out to her, and she just quickly put some earrings on and just sent me this beautiful photo. Again, a way to just spark some joy back and forth. It's really amazing. And then my good friend Lisa Marie, who is also a fashion designer, this actually she didn't send to me, but I saw it on her Instagram, and it brought such a smile to my face that I asked if I could use it. This was for the bathtub challenge, and if you haven't checked it out on Instagram, do. It's pretty incredible. But again, these are just ways just to spread joy. There's a lot of sadness there. I mean, there is so much sadness, and there are so many people in crisis right now, that why not just try and figure out how to spark a little joy? In fact, I will share that most of my world is falling apart, and we'll talk about that later, but this is, again, a way to spark joy. Don't forget joy and goodness at home. Again, here's our dear friend Julia, who, when I asked her to kind of put something kind of dressier and that sparked joy for her, she sort of did this evening look with a vintage nightgown. And I think it's important to remember that not only are you trying to spark joy and goodness towards those people that you're connecting to digitally, but also those who you're sheltering in place with and who you're at home with. It is really hard to be with people 24/7. So if you can somehow show up at breakfast one morning with a brightly colored sweatshirt or maybe at dinner put a little lipstick on, that could make a little bit of difference. And I just am saying there are small things to do that you could do to spread joy and goodness at home, and also therefore have compassion. So here's the part where we've been hearing cleansing. I know a lot of people who've been doing detoxing, cleansing, both skin as well as internally. And there are ways to do it with your wardrobe as well, which is what I do with my clients almost every day. So since my mom is in the room, and I neglected to mention that my whole art and the way of being is due to my mother. She's got her master's in clothing and textiles. She has a very strong presence in most of our world. Us kids that are her children and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren, she's a very huge presence. And so she always taught us that messy drawers made your mind messy. So messy drawers equals messy mind. And that's just a way of saying keep yourself tidy, right? But I love that she would say that to us, and it's always resonated in my head. So I guess that's played into how I deal with my clients. And Monica's, I've been in her closet, she knows, and there's several of you have been in your closet, and I do get a little bit particular about how that closet looks from when I leave. It is a little bit of my OCD, and I really do enjoy making that closet very neat and tidy when I leave because of messy drawers, messy mind, right? So with your closet organization, sorry, still allergy season here. With your closet organization, I like to encourage people to organize per my guidelines on how to dress. And that is 3 pieces completes your look. That's the 3rd piece concept. So I typically divide the closet up with jackets, underpinnings, blouses, and then bottoms, and then dresses or suits or whatever on the very side. So that's a really important way that I say to that I encourage people to organize their closet. And then the other way is to organize by seasons. If you have the capacity to change it up by season, that will really help you. So if you are cleansing your closet out right now, if you're doing your closet clean, try and separate your winter and fall with from your spring and summer. It will help you immensely. I live in a tiny studio apartment in Brooklyn, and I still do this every season. I literally switch out my closet. I put everything away, make sure everything's cleaned and ready to go, and I store the previous season, and I put out the current season. It's a very easy way to get yourself organized. Worn, not worn, let's figure out why. One of my favorite salons that I did back in Brooklyn in the fall as part of the salon series and it was a series of small events that I was doing at Walk the West. And one of my favorite ones is, let's figure out why you're not wearing this piece in your closet. So I encouraged everybody that came to bring a piece that they hadn't been wearing. And I live styled it and figured out how to style it or alter it or figured out why they weren't wearing it. It was a pretty fun event. And you can also do this in your closet. You can figure out why you're not wearing it. Maybe it's a small alteration. Maybe it's how you're wearing it. But that's a really important tip to organizing your closet. And then, of course, the donate part. It is so healing to put a big bag of things together to donate to charity. Now, I know right now it's a challenge to drop off. None of the places are open, and there might be a little bit of lull time for when you can get to Goodwill and when things are going to be functioning, or Goodwill or whoever, the big blue truck. It's going to be a while till they might be functioning the way they used to, but put it together, put it in your garage or in storage. There will be a need and there will be a way, and stay tuned to my social media, because I will be posting on how to do that. Right now, again, we're sort of dealing with a lot of new things. So, but still donating, giving back, putting it away, that's really important. So
hi there.
I'm gonna actually back up. So I'm gonna go back to the factual stuff here and have a little more fun with Laura. So I'm gonna stand by for another video.
Hi there. Today I'm going to talk about virtual outfits. So this is my virtual choice today for those meetings, video conferences. Got it mixed with something that's a little professional with Janet Jackson. Okay, so here I am, another jacket. So I thought this was gonna look really weird, but I actually like it. I think it works. What do you think, Sonny? You think it works? Yay, she likes it. So, Little House on the Prairie would give this jacket a thumbs up. You have jackets too. Stay in, stay safe, and save some money. And by the way, I have no virtual meetings today. You're it. Anyway, bye.
So that's really fun. Creating new looks with old pieces is one of my favorite things to do, not only in my closet, but my clients' closets. It's really incredible. And I think if you have the space, you know, I usually say if you have the space to store things that I know will be good, will come back in style, if you can, do it. But again, right now, shopping is complicated. So let's shop in your closet. Let's have some fun. And if you organize your closet in the 3 ways that I mentioned, you can actually start shopping in your closet and create new looks and have some fun. So speaking of which, creativity and reinvention. So how do we do this with our current wardrobe? Things that we already have in our closet. How do we be responsible, not ship, try and figure out what we have in our closet? There's a lot of things that are happening right now in fashion, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But let's talk a little bit about creativity and reinvention within your closet with things you currently have. So with your sweatshirts and tees, that's what we're wearing. It's incredible. So I just say that there's a way to recreate all your sweatshirts and tees with just a little scissor skills. So I did some videos. They're not as great as Laura's, but they're fun. And I'm going to show you how I reworked a sweatshirt that I happened to find in, again, my mom's house in a box of stuff I had that's very special to me. It's not a sweatshirt I normally would wear, but it's very sentimental for me. So I'm going to share that with you right now. So I'm going to talk through, this is a sweatshirt that means a lot to me. It was my brother's, and I didn't even go to UW. I went to SPU, but it's an oversized sweatshirt. It would be fine oversized, no problem, but I'm probably not going to wear that, especially, you know, I come from a family where it's between it's between UW and the Cornhuskers. So, you know, I have to split my time, but I'm going to show you how we can do this with the scissors. So what I had is a really good sharp pair of scissors, and I'm going to show you, I start with the top of the collar, and I just will show you here that I'm just cutting the neck out. So it's very easy. You just follow the line of the actual, where the crew neck is. You just follow that line around, and you just follow it all the way around. And I didn't do a voiceover on these ones. I was just being a bit shy. I'm still new to all this video stuff. So that's that. And then you take the sleeve and you cut off that cuff as well. So it's very easy. You even have your guidelines already there for you. You can just cut right where the cuff was sewn on. Again, it's really important to have really sharp scissors when you're doing this. And if you notice, I'm wearing a cutoff t-shirt. I'm actually known for wearing a lot of rock and roll tees, and I love to cut the sleeves off of those as well. I've done that for a lot of clients in their closets, that I take a lot of their swag or t-shirts they never wear, and I'll take them home and I'll cut them up for them and bring them back. And it's incredible. It's really a really great way to revive some of your pieces. So the final step on the sweatshirt is to sort of measure where you want it. And I wanted mine a little cropped because everything's a little high-waisted these days. So, and even if not, I want to be able to do it like Laura did. I want to be able to throw it over a skirt or throw it over a dress. And that is how I did. Now, I started by cutting up and then measuring over. You'll see how I do that. I sort of cut up to where I want to go. And normally, I would recommend you use chalk or pins on where you want to go. I've just been cutting things for so many years, I didn't measure, but don't follow my example. That's a bad example. Definitely measure out how you want to do it. So you can see I sort of cut, I'm starting cutting right where I measured. You can see that right there. And then final product. Here it is, all cropped Very cute. I definitely would wear this. I feel a lot cuter in the sweatshirt than I did before. Totally great to do it the way it was before, oversized, but I really like it cut up like this. So that's a fun way. So the next is creative dyeing. So tie-dye is all the rage right now, and I did do some videos, so I'm gonna let the videos explain.
So another idea for creativity and reinvention is creative dyeing. So tie-dye is all the rage right now. There's a lot of ways to do it at home. Today I had my heart set on showing you how to do some great dyeing on light colored and white colored t-shirts. And it turns out I am sheltering at home at my mother's, and I don't wear a lot of white and light colors here up in Seattle. So in the true spirit of using what you got in your closet, I am going to be bleach tie dyeing a black t-shirt. So it's really simple. You don't need a lot. You need a bucket, some bleach, rubber bands, and some gloves. And I'm going to go outside and actually do the bleaching, and I'll walk you through. I'm going to show you images of how I'm tying the t-shirt, and then I'll be back with a final result. So I decided to make it pretty simple today. I thought this t-shirt would look really cool just over my yoga leggings. And I'm keeping it simple by putting a huge patch on the shoulder and a huge tie-dye patch sort of onto the side. So let's see how that turns out. I'm gonna go outside and bleach, and I'll be back. So I'm super excited. It turned out exactly how I wanted it. I've got the sleeve accent with tie-dye, and I've got the side splash. And I'm really thrilled with this old t-shirt that was oversized, that was just sitting in the bottom of a drawer here at my mom's house. And I might just be wearing this every day. How I did it was, after we tied it, I showed you that. I bleached it outside. I let it sit out in the sun for about an hour. And then I came in and I rinsed off the extra bleach, threw everything into the washer, a quick wash, and then threw it into the dryer. And then just when it was about ready to be perfectly dried, I took it out and took off the rubber bands and then finished the drying process. So again, mission accomplished. I'm very excited. I might just watch a movie now instead of yoga.
So that's a really fun way. There are numerous amount of resources on YouTube to do tie dyeing, to do tea drying, which is what I wanted to do with the white t-shirt, and or bleaching. So have some fun with some of your old pieces and recreate and reinvent. So the other way to reinvent and just add a little easy perk are crochet and grandma pin embellishments. And it just so happens that Grandma Chic is in. I think a lot of us are going through all of our old things. So we're finding a lot of things, a lot of items that perhaps were given to us by an aunt or a grandma or a mom. And so there's just numerous ways that you can see how pins are being used, and crochet pins, crochet embellishments from collars to other things. You'll see this Pinterest here. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But I wanted to show you that this was the inspiration on the left, and I got my sister to help. She's on today. Cindy helped. So she's amazing at all things with her hands. So I called her. I asked her if she wouldn't mind crocheting from this inspiration. And here's what happened. She did these beautiful pins, and then she wore it on our family Zoom on Saturday. So again, you could just throw these pins onto a sweatshirt or onto a jacket or a t-shirt, and it's a really fun, easy way to embellish. So Speaking of which, so I mentioned the Pinterest boards. I've created Pinterest boards just for you all on this call on my board. There's inspiration on how to do the embellishments as well as how to do your casual vibe during crisis and into as we start to emerge outside. So I'll have the links at the end, but definitely take a peek at those. I know I'm going really fast here, but you can take your time going through all of those images and on my Pinterest board, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. So I wouldn't be able to do this presentation without presenting the conundrum that we all have. And the part of that is the state of the fashion industry. You know, our economy is in a standstill. We know much of it is impacted by consumer consumption, and we're not in the mood. So how are we supposed to approach this? And I get it. We don't want to spend money. A lot of us can't spend the money. So how are we going to approach this? Support, spark that joy, have compassion, given the state of the fashion industry. I mean, today, or I think yesterday, J.Crew just announced that they were filing for bankruptcy. So a lot of the conversations I'm having with my clients are, how are we going to shop now? What are we going to be focusing on? And what my response is, what I've been teaching my clients all along is, we're going to shop sustainable. We're going to shop small. There's a lot of things that we're going to do. So ways to make it a win-win situation. Again, consider self-love and self-care. Purchase only what you love and what makes you feel good. That's really, really important. And that's what I try to do with my clients. I create a very specific list. It's not overdone. It's what makes you feel good and what do you need. Think about creativity and reinvention. Have fun with what you wear. Dress like no one is watching. Follow the young designers. Try some of their innovative pieces. This is really going to be the wave of the future. We are not going to have the big box stores as readily available. We won't be able to return 40 pieces out of the 60 that we try. We are going to have to be very, very specific about what we wear and why we're wearing it. And also, the goodness and joy aspect. Consider supporting causes through your purchases. And this goes along with what I've always said with Sustainable Style Foundation. Make a conscious purchase. Make a statement with what you're wearing and who you're buying from. Now, I can't buy much. You know, I'm in the same situation as everyone right now. But the one thing I did buy was this sweatshirt during this crisis. And I wanted to do it so I could make a statement. I love this brand called Mate the Label. And I really like what this sweatshirt is saying. It's give a damn. This sweatshirt's made out of really conscious materials. The fabrics that Mate uses are very, very clean. And that's really important to me as well. And so again, I was making a statement for a lot of reasons, and I considered what I bought before I bought it. Also, think about vintage. Vintage is going to play really strong in the years to come. And there is so much about vintage that can be repurposed. There's a lot of designers out there, and I'll be highlighting one in just a second, that are repurposing fabric, or repurposing old pieces. There's a lot of great ways to make a conscious purchase. So you have opportunities to give back. You can still look fabulous as well as do good. And those of you that are old SSF folks or previous SSF folks, you'll recognize that term. So in terms of talking about some of the brands I'm talking about that spark joy, that give back, that are small, Raquel Allegra, really amazing LA designer. She does a lot, again, with tie-dyes and really beautiful fabrics. Check her out. Mate the Label, I've talked about as well. Again, an LA brand that's really doing a lot, really focusing on clean fabrics. That's a really important thing right now for climate crisis as well as our current crisis. It's very, very important. Black Crane, another really sustainable designer, doing really amazing cozy wear. And again, all of this is cozy, comfort, sparking joy wear. This is all that I'm about right now. It's what we are going to be about. So these are important brands to me right now. And then finally, Fly By Night. The designer, Laura, who you saw previous, she takes fabric that's vintage, and she repurposes and makes these beautiful pieces. And again, there are hosts of designers doing things like this. And so it's just a matter of trying to figure out how to get to them. I know that's going to be a challenge. So your personal care will impact everyone around you, but mostly it'll transform you. I don't know how you feel right now, but hopefully some of that transformation with Laura and some of my friends and some of the joyful clothing that they're wearing, the smiles on their faces, it is transforming. It does make a difference. I literally have witnessed clients in a dressing room from being hunched over and not having that much confidence to being elevated and having a smile on their face, not believing that they could ever feel that great as well as look that great in the clothing that they wore. It does transform. So you can have this transformation by doing some of the things that I'm talking about, and you can come out on the other side refreshed, renewed, and inspired for the new world in front of us. There's a lot of change. It's changing every day. It's hard to keep up, but if you keep yourself centered, refreshed, and renewed, and inspired, you will be prepared for anything. So as I mentioned before, I'm even more passionate than I was before about building confidence. And I know that it is possible to help make someone soar to levels I never thought possible. And so as my gift to you, I would love to offer a 1-hour consult. So we can talk about how to present yourself online. We can talk about cleaning out your closet. We can talk about really whatever you want, or if you just want to talk to me, I'm making myself available for this group. I really just am so passionate about trying to figure out ways I can help the world. And if I can use my gifts to help in this way, that's what I hope to do. So I really thank you all for being here. I know I slid through this really fast, and I'm sure there's questions on here. You can kind of see I have some credits for all the wonderful people in my tribe that helped me put this together, as well as my contact information here. And I think we have just enough time to do questions. Right, Monica?
Yeah. So I've been collecting the questions, and if you have any questions, just put them in chat. But talk a little bit more about closet organization. Do you do it by color? Do you ever put all outfits together?
You know, I do it, it varies. I have clients who want me to do it by outfits, and I have done that. However, I don't recommend it. I recommend by the pieces that I talk about, the third piece, the underpinnings, the blouses, the pants. And then of course because I am crazy, I love it by color. I love being able to find things by color. The one thing I will say that happens is the black section can get a little hectic. So if that is the case, I do it by sleeve length. So if it's sleeveless to full sleeve. So that's my best way to recommend.
Okay. And do you subscribe to the historic color scheme from years ago, like the seasons?
You know, it's funny, I got trained in the seasons at Nordstrom. I was a personal stylist at Nordstrom in the old days, in what we called, the department's called personal touch, and we were trained in the seasons, and the draping, and we did all of that. We no longer do that, but it is actually true. The reason we don't do that is if you were a classic fall, then what happens is that season by season, the designers would change the dye lots. So if you were typically in fall colors, let's say a brown, sometimes the browns might have green in it, sometimes the browns might have red in it or blue in it, and some of those colors don't play well together, and they don't play well on your skin. So that's why we stopped doing seasons, but I still do it where I say, I think you're a fall, or I think you're a winter, only because it helps people, but it's no longer done in the industry. It's just something that a lot of us old school garmentos still have in our wheelhouse.
How about back to the bleaching, which I was really fascinated about, and I can't wait to try it. How do you apply the bleach? Do you spray it? Do you just dip it in?
Sure, it's a great question. I dipped it in. I just dipped the bits in that I wanted to bleach.
So it was multiple rubber bands, and then you dip it in.
Yes, and you saw, I don't know if you looked that closely, but I did have a little spillage on the side. My mom made sure and noticed that, but I was in a bit of a rush when I was doing it. But yeah, you want to just be really careful where you're dipping it.
When you were talking earlier, you had mentioned tea dyeing on like white t-shirts.
Yeah.
Is that just as easy? Is it a similar process?
It is. It's a similar process, and depending if you don't want the tie-dye, you can just dip it, and it just depends how you want it. If how you want to dye it. If you want to tie-dye, you can do the ties. If you want to just dip dye, you can do the dip. And just everybody knows, tea and dirt is how we in the movie industry make things look old. So we don't like things to be super white on camera. So that's how we age things up. So it's a little movie insider secret.
Back to colors. Should you be aware of what colors look good for aging skin?
Yes, you really should. And it's color, but it's more texture. So texture plays more like a natural Botox. So as you get older, we can't wear the same fabrics that we used to. Like we used to be able to go to Express and wear that Lycra stuff and look really great. But that's because our skin was really resilient and it had a lot of things in it that could play off that terrible fabric. Now we need to have fabric that actually has a little texture and light play that acts as a natural light bounce off of our face.
What was the designer for the Give a Damn sweatshirt?
Mate the Label.
Got it. And last question is home care. This is actually a good point because I haven't been able to take in dry cleaning, but what do you recommend for home care for delicate garments right now?
Right now, if you can do a nice delicate wash and hang dry, great. Check the label. This isn't the most sustainable, but there also is a product called Dryel that you can put into your dryer and throw something that would normally go to the dry cleaner and cleanse it that way. The way I teach people to dress is also a natural way to kind of keep the longevity of your clothing, and that is 3 pieces. So if you're wearing a little underpinning underneath your jackets or little layers, that always helps the longevity of your clothing. And also that allows you not to have to clean it as much.
Thank you. And everyone, let's give Rebecca a big thank you. Virtual hug, kiss.
Yay. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you all. It was such a pleasure. I just want to say that I'm available. You have my contact. I'm here to help. So however way I can help you through this time, reach out anytime. And thank you, Monica and Joni, for having me here. I hear this is going to be up on their site at some point in the future, so you can rewatch it and you can, I was a bit nervous. I was rushing through. So I hope you all got some inspiration, and please do let me know. Just reach out directly if you did, because that'll make my day.
Yeah, so we did record it. We're going to post it on our website soon.